Hello and a very warm welcome to episode 42 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, a podcast about all things Hastings United. I'm your host Chris Laverick, and on today's show we have Supporters Club Chairman and Press Officer of Felixstowe Walton United, Stuart Daynes. He talks the tough league they're in, looking forward to our FA Trophy game and how the fans are going to make a nice weekend of it, and who can blame them. Also on the show we have a very special guest amongst all the usual reprobates that come on our fan roundtable, our boss, Chris AGUTTER, and as ever, he's straight talking. Enjoy, Hastings fans. And now over to Felixstowe's Stuart Daynes. First of all, thank you very much for your time, Stuart. Stuart, who is the press officer for Felixstowe and Walton United. Just because I had a little cruise around your website, that was an amalgamation of two clubs back in the day, wasn't it, sir?
Yeah, that's right. Just over 20 years ago now, there was always Felixstowe Town were the team that I was involved in. Go back decades and decades. They had a link up with a big sponsor at the port for Felixstowe, and that sort of fizzled out. And there was a team down at Step 7 called Walton United, which is Walton is actually just a part of Felixstowe basically. And they had a lot of people involved with running that club. And yeah, it was just decided that the two clubs should merge, hence the name. A lot of people seem to think it's Walton as in Walton down the coast in Essex, 10 miles down the coast. But yeah, that's not. There's actually two parts of Felixstowe.
Unless I'm wrong, we're meeting for the first time here in the FA Trophy.
Yes, we nearly met in the summer. I was in discussions with your team online there about having a friendly. We'd advertised that we needed a friend. We had a spare date in August, and they replied wanting us to come down there for a game back in August.
Yeah,
we couldn't go on that specific date that they wanted because one of our players was getting married on the Friday night.
Yeah,
and then they wanted to come up to us instead.
Yeah,
again, that couldn't happen for various reasons. We'd had an agreement with another club, so that didn't quite happen. Oh. And but I said to him, hopefully we'll meet in one of the cups instead.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And is the gentleman in question still married, most importantly?
I think so. He's suspended at the moment from playing, so I don't know what he's up to. But, yeah, I think he's still married. You would hope so after like 3 months.
Yeah, well, you never know. I've tried it a couple of times. Right. So I'm just looking at your league. I mean, you've got some decent sides in there. I mean, you've got Canby Islands, you've got like Grays Athletic. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough old league you're in there.
It's a nightmare league, if I'm being honest. It's so tough. It's full of I mean, we're constantly down the A12 in all those group of teams down that neck of the woods, your Romford, your Tilbury, Canby, Heybridge, Holbridge, you name it. There's so many clubs down there we end up going down to often. And they're tough teams to play against, them Essex sides. They really are. And we've had to adapt a bit because I would say we're more the passing football type side. And we have to adapt, and we've had to, certainly in the past sort of 3 years, get tougher. You're up against some real tough teams, physically, and they can be a bit definitely a bit more physical than what we're used to in our step 5 where we come up from. The nice little Norfolk clubs.
You fight fire with fire, is what you're saying.
You sort of have to, really.
Yeah.
We've introduced players over the last 3 years, who are more used to playing that sort of level. But it's well known for being one of the toughest leagues at this level. Hence why I think a lot of those clubs in that league do well in the national competitions. For example, the FA Cup. Canby Island going through to the on TV last year. Malden a couple of years ago. Sudbury have got through to the first round proper this year. So those teams there's always sort of a team or two who are doing well on the national stage as well each year as well. So I think that just goes to show the level that we're playing at, really. Really tricky league.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be all right with us though, because I mean we do like to pass the ball around. Okay. I mean, there's a few that might probably are going to get stuck in as well, but I'm sure there's a few on your team that will do the same. So
yeah, if we've got any players to bring, we've got a bit of an injury crisis this season.
Yeah, like a lot of clubs.
Yeah, I've got all the excuses coming already. Look, but we've had maybe 7 or 8 what you'd call real first teamers out all season, really, and you get one back, then you lose another one for illness, injury, whatever. And it's been really tough. Had a couple of 16-year-olds have to come into the team last Saturday when we had a game at Sudbury, and so we're up against it for players, if I'm being honest. Trying to sort of sow the seeds to make you feel a bit overconfident
Hastings has the same issues, it's, and also with obviously a fixture pile up. It's people with recovery time and everything. But then again, it's a good experience for some of these younger lads to come in and see if they sink or swim. Because you could unearth a couple of gems, couldn't you? Really, I mean, we're quite lucky where we are because we've got quite a good academy. There's a lot of players that are coming through. I mean, we've just had a player recently went to Burnley, and he's now the captain of the under 18s. Is it 18s or 21s? 18s probably. Over at Burnley now, and he's only been there 6 months. Obviously he left last season. So there's a lot of good players from our point of view. But let's talk about your team. I mean, is there anyone? Because obviously I love football. Who can get on the ball? Who's going to excite us? Basically, is going to put the fear of God into us.
Well, hopefully, the striker Zach Brown. Okay. He was the lad who was with us till he was all through our junior sides. He was with us. He's a local Felixstowe boy, and him and his brother Charlie. They were like the standout players of that generation, if you like. Charlie went on to play for Chelsea youth, and he's now playing first team football for MK Dons. He moved there in the summer. And Zach Brown went to Ipswich Town. When they had a change of manager at the end of last season, he got released, and he sort of fell out of love with football in a way because of that professional game. So he's come to play for us again as his hometown team, and nice. He's a handful.
Well, I look forward to seeing him. I mean, is there anything you want to ask? I mean, obviously, any of your fans coming over? We've
got lots coming. A lot of people are making a weekend of it.
Oh, lovely.
I mean, staying obviously in Eastbourne rather than Hastings because it's a bit nicer, probably.
We won't take offence to that. We've got the better pubs, mate. But
Okay. Yeah, we've got a coach coming. Plus, we're oversubscribed, so we're bringing our academy minibus as well. So there's quite a few coming, but there's a lot coming off their own back as well and making the weekend of it. Yeah. Well, so I guess you'll see about 100 of us down there. We're quite well supported.
Good. Well, I hope the weather's good for you if you are making a weekend of it.
Yeah. Well, it's the closest abroad we'll get this year, being that far south, I think. So, yeah, right for a bit of weather, bit of a tan. I need a bit of a tan, as you can tell.
Okay, well, let's talk about your season. I mean, how do you think you think? I mean, obviously you're kind of mid-table-ish at the moment.
Yeah, we've had a mixed, obviously, set of results. We're doing. We've won half and drawn half. Sorry, won half and lost half, really. You could say there's only one of those games where we've been sort of deserved losers, I would say, at Grays when they beat us 3-0. The rest of that have been very close. So it's one of them leagues where you win one week and you think, a point or fourth or something, and then you go and lose, and then you're looking at 16th place all of a sudden. It's very, very tight. Everyone beats everyone in that league, apart from there's 2 clubs at the bottom which are looking a bit vulnerable, but the rest, literally everyone beats everyone week in, week out. There's several favourites for the league, already, and they're all having mixed fortunes. Tilbury were one of the favourites there. I think they're fourth bottom at the moment. We beat them in our last home game, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's done all right. We had a good result in the FA Trophy. The first round, and we played at Malden and Tiptree. I took a penalty shootout, but in sudden death, and we won there. And we've got a good pedigree in this competition, really. Last year we had we went way above and beyond. We went to the third round proper. That was during lockdown, and we had to go up to Basford in Nottingham to play that one, who were like top of the national, what was that, National Premier League, Northern Premier League, I think it was.
Okay.
They beat us, I think it was 2-0 in the end. So we were allowed up because we were a media team, but we couldn't take anyone with us because they were in level 2, what it was, lockdown at that time, back in November, of course. But we'd had a great run in that competition with big teams from higher up leagues like Met Police, and Leatherhead away, and with Westfield at home, and Waker in from our league. So we'd had a real good run in that league. And I'll be honest, when we drew Malden away, that's such a tough place to go. We were sort of expecting, it ends as soon as it starts. But yeah, we get a good result down there, and then absolute prime draw. We know you're a big club down there, and you get big crowds, and it's an real attractive fixture for us, and everyone was delighted with that. And yeah, the buzz around the place about this weekend is actually quite epic, really. It's been
excellent.
Yeah, we had it's those days out that you remember, really. When I look back at all the years I've been involved, you remember those type of days out. When you have a good cup game away from home, mainly. They're the ones that always stick in your memory. So yeah, we really look forward to it.
Oh, good. I mean, we're obviously going to give you a game, and any Chris AGUTTER team's going to come out and it's going to give you a game. It ain't going to be 70%. Well, good luck. I mean, obviously enjoy the weekend. I obviously hope you don't enjoy the 90 minutes at the end. I hope that at the full time we get a result, but obviously we all of us Hastings fans, we wish you all the best, and obviously safe journey. Yeah,
thanks for you as well. We'll be, we're looking out for your results already since we spoke in the summer, actually, with your media team there, and you're doing well. Obviously, you're playing tonight, aren't you?
Yeah. We got Ashford. We got. It's going to be a toughie. I mean, we turned them over last game. They had the bit of the bock over us, and then this last game we played them. They were surprisingly not up for it, and we turned them over quite easily, really. So I hope that happens again.
Okay.
You might see me Saturday, and I'm full of tears because we got bashed, but I don't think so. But
let's hope so at the end, anyway. But but I guess you're hoping for promotion this year, then, are you?
Yes. I mean, we obviously should have had. Well, we would have got before COVID. We would have gone up. We were like, I think, as I remember, 3-4 games in hand, 5-6 points clear, and they were against all low teams that would we would have beat them. And it's just the way it is, and that's the way it is for a lot of clubs that have obviously been affected by COVID.
There were several. There was several round here, actually. You had the same at Stowmarket, who are now in our league. They were something like 20 points clear.
Oh, Jesus.
To come up into our league, and then last year they eventually got to, because they cherry picked a few clubs, didn't they, due to their recent history. So it came good in the end. But yeah, that was tough for all those clubs.
Yeah,
it certainly was.
But yeah, we certainly hope we're going to get please.
Well, we'll try and make it easy for you by taking the focus away from your cup.
That's very nice.
You can concentrate on the league. We're good people. We'll do that, especially for you.
Oh, you do it for us, will you?
Yeah.
I think we're a bit greedy. But we will find out. Now, this is coming out on Thursday, the podcast. But obviously Saturday, I'm part of the supporters club there, so I'll be handing out tat at the main gates anyway. So if you see us, please say hello, and I'll buy you a beer, or if you're driving, I'll get you a cup of tea. Stu, thank you for your time.
No worries, anytime.
Yeah, you take care, and I'll see you at the game.
Yeah, okay. Commiserations for Saturday, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, see you, mate. Take care.
See you later.
You say you need a plumber? You also want them to be members of the finest team in Sussex, if not the world? Well, it's not a monster, it's G&S Mechanical Services for all your plumbing needs, covering all the South East, even Whitehawk. Give that man Gary Elphick a call on 07793 125 571. That's 07793 125 571. You won't be sorry. Are you up for a bit of trick or trivia? Do you have the pumpkins to play this scary Halloween quiz, even if it is hosted by everyone's favourite drummer, George Gasson? If you are, the Hastings United Independent Supporters Club are laying on our Halloween quiz. It's on the 29th of October, doors open 6:30, ice down 7pm, £3 a person. It's at the Pilot Bar. Come on, it'll be a lot of fun. Go to our website husupporters.club or email us info.huisc@gmail.com or contact this podcast to get your tickets. And now over to a special roundtable. We have the pleasure of the insights of Hastings boss Chris AGUTTER, and a big thanks to Leon, Smithie, Wills, Flat White Andy, George, and of course Aggie for making it happen. First of all, it's a very warm welcome to Mr. Wills, Flat White Andy, Leon, Adam Smithie, and of course the wonderful legend, English Jose, Chris AGUTTER, with just tremendous David Bellamy beard.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry.
So anyway, right. So it was a busy week, a few ups and downs on this one. First of all, for any of us, we went to Hythe. Decent result. Some lovely goals. Anyone want to talk about Hythe first up? With Chris?
Did you go to Hythe? I hope you didn't go to Hythe.
Did we go? Oh, don't start. I'm tired. Where did we fucking play? It was 3-0, wasn't it?
We did Hythe last week, didn't we?
I think you're thinking of the 4-2 win at the weekend, aren't you, Chris? I hope you are.
Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, Chris. Mate, I tell you, this is...
I can talk about Hythe if you want.
I want to know what hairdryer treatment Chris gave the lads at half time. I want to know what he said.
Oh, what?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I want to know the hairdryer treatment you must have given the lads, because they definitely come out.
I just couldn't believe how bad we were. I couldn't believe how bad we were, Leon. Honestly, I said to him at half time, I said, I can't sit there watching another 45 minutes of something that's as bad as that. It's just, but I think it was from obviously the weekend where you're in front of 800-900 people at Maidenhead, and it's a big game and big expectations, big occasion. Then you sort of go to Hythe, and it's always a tough game. It is a bit of a slog, but I thought there was a little bit of a hangover for it, and I thought we got caught half and half as well. Between, are we playing it short and playing through the pitch, or are we going a bit more direct? And I thought we ended up doing neither. So it was just more like reinforcing our standards and just making it a bit more black and white in terms of what we needed to do to win the game, really. I'm lucky really with the lads. I don't really have to do too many finger pointing or hammerings, because a lot of it's self-police from the lads. So it's the lads look after themselves a lot of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the highlights from that game, obviously apart from the goals, I think Sam Adams and Kenny sort of tried to do a little 1-2 and Kenny fluffed it basically, and I think they're best mates, aren't they? And you can literally hear Sammy say, "Kenny, you effing lazy." Yeah. I can't repeat it because it's going to go out on the podcast, but
Sammy beat me to it.
It's just made this, it's made me chuckle. A little highlight of all the.
Yeah, that's what I like about Sammy, is it doesn't matter, because you get a lot like some lads that will only say certain things to certain players. Like Tom Chalmers gets it in the ear from everyone because Tom's Mr. Compliant and won't say anything to anyone, whereas Sammy doesn't care. He demands it from anyone, so even his best mate, which is great.
Would you say the first half, because I think I was a bit late last week, but the first half, so it's that difficult thing of mental fatigue, would you say, Chris, whereby whatever happened at half time, that second half, and I thought especially led by Sammy, was just that grit and determination and that kind of mental change, which is difficult to switch on when it's in the doldrums a bit. But it was a great turnaround.
Yeah, I just think sometimes we need to remember why we've been successful, and for all of the nice football that we've played, there has been times when we've been a bit more basic and been a bit more direct. But one thing that we've always done is outwork the opposition. And I think, as basic as it sounds, I think if to a man you can run more and work harder than your opposite number, you're always going to have a chance. And I think it was just sort of, we need to put Maidenhead behind us. Yeah, great. It was all nice and it was a great support around it and a great atmosphere and nice occasion. But we got to get back to what we're good at. And the term we use is we're dogs. You know, we're dogs that run and we work hard and compete. And I just think Sammy epitomised that. I agree with you, John. I thought he led from the front and he was running past people to press people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think that was obviously the couple of quality goals, but both the goals, both Sammy's and Kenny's goals, come off the back of a high press and a regain. So yeah, I couldn't agree more, to be honest.
Is it a different pressure as well going into every game as the
Honestly, it's been, I'll be really open and honest, it's been really tough this year because everyone has said to me, you'll win it again. Or they just assume that we're going to win every game because of what we've done. And because the game last night was the fourth league game we've lost in nearly 3 years. And because we've set such high standards, everyone just assumes that it's more of the same. And it's been really, we're almost a victim of our own expectations and our own sort of standards because, personally, I go into every game and like it's a cup final. And I think it's been tough this year because on top of just the expectations, a lot of the older lads have been out of the game for 9 months with the lockdown situation, or what it felt 6-9 months, whatever it was. But they've had a sort of disjointed last year or so, which I think's really impacted them, if I'm honest. And then a lot of our best young players have moved on. So it's been a real, it's been really tough. And we're everyone's cup final. So we never play a team on an off day. Like never. We never play against anyone and they have a bad day. They're always like Hive. We've watched them a couple of times and they looked a different team against us. Like Phoenix Sports don't even look like a football team sometimes, and then they play against us and they caused us all sorts of problems. But
it's that lack of pressure being the underdogs, isn't it?
Well, it's just that everyone just expects us to win.
Yeah.
But it's good because I can remember when I first took over and we weren't in as good a place, and if we lost, it was like, well, you know. Whereas now it's, if you lose, it's the world's going to end. I mean, the amount of messages I've had today going, "Don't worry, chin up." It's like, Adil, relax, don't worry about it. But you know, it's we've got a long way to go, sort of thing.
Speak to me,
so
boys.
if I waffle, Chris, by the way, just tell me to shut up because I can talk for England.
You're not in Billy Wood's league at all, mate, Chris. I don't think
that is very true.
Yeah, so. And that's staying in. What? What turned out to be a fairly comfortable win against Phoenix Sports. It didn't feel like that for a little while, but it was a bit of a funny old game. That going 2-0 up within, what was it, about 15 minutes? And then they kind of sneaked back in the game. I mean, just going directly to you first, Chris, like what was your thoughts when we went 2-0 up? Did you think this is going to be, we're just going to turn this lot over, or?
No, it felt like the Broadfields game.
Yeah.
It felt like we'd scored too early. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it almost takes you off guard a little bit. I mean, we thought when we played Broadfields in that first attack and we scored, you could just see the body language of the players was like, oh, this is going to be a cruise. And I got the same feeling when we scored that second goal. I just thought, you know, just a horrible situation. I know, obviously, you'd rather go 2 goals ahead and steamroll teams, but I just think sometimes when you're playing against teams like that, like John just said, they literally have nothing to lose. They're 2-0 down. They throw the kitchen sink at it, and before you know it, you're on the end of a shock result. And what didn't help, I mean, they didn't cut the grass, so which is a problem for us, or can be a problem for us. And also, this is one of the most ridiculous things you guys are ever going to hear. I've never known this in football. They overinflated every single football. So standard pressure of a football should be 10 psi.
Yeah.
And we were kicking balls around that were over 25 psi. So we were essentially trying to kick a cannonball in the jungle. It was ridiculous. And just little things like that, you think, oh, it's just, it wasn't as straightforward as we would have liked. Definitely not.
God, the darker side of the game, eh? Jeez.
It was unbelievable. Honestly, it sounded like something, like I thought it was like watching Kingpin. It was ridiculous. Honestly.
That was like Wimbledon type tactics. The Hader.
Honestly, John, you could hear when we kicked the ball. It was like we've all kicked a ball that's over pumped up. And you think, get the air out of that. Honestly, it was mad. And then they would throw. You kick one ball out of the ground, you think, oh, thank God, that's that one gone. Then they throw one on that's even harder than the last one. I think, what is going on? But yeah,
it's
what it is.
Yeah, I mean, chaps, any thoughts? Any thoughts you want to sort of pass over to Aggie about that about Phoenix game?
I think we looked good from every attack in the first half, whether it's a throw, whether it's a corner. But there was, when they got 1 goal back, we just looked a bit unsettled at the back.
Yeah,
and that looks a bit of a worry, Eggs.
100%. It's the thing is with Gaz. When you're missing Gary Elphick, it's not just like one player. He has such a big influence across the whole team. We always say it. He makes other players and the people around him better. You know, he turns 6s into 7s out of 10. So whenever he's not playing, it's a real challenge for us. And add to that, Marcus Goldsmith, who I think's been up there of our Player of the Year this year. I think he's improved so much. With him not being available as well, it's disrupted what was becoming a sort of quite settled back line. So yeah, no, I completely agree. I've felt the same as you. Every time they went forwards, normally I'm quite content, but on Saturday I thought, like when they went 3-2 and then they went through and you think, oh no, like 3-3, because Phoenix I've never won at Phoenix until that game. And there's always been high scoring games. I mean, we drew 3-3 down there, I think 3 years ago. And I agree. I certainly wasn't settled with how strong we were defensively.
I think you say about Marcus, I think Kane in that game, he looked quite good. He looked really settled. And is that his natural position, or is he a midfielder?
No, he's a midfielder by trade, but he isn't going to play in our midfield, to be quite blunt. I mean, getting in our midfield, well, you see it. I think our Player of the Year last year, Ryan Worrell, at the minute isn't able to get in the side, rightly or wrongly, and off the back of how well Sammy, Dicko, Haas and Tom have played. So for Kane, we've done a lot of work with him to almost retraining as a right back, because he's a I know it's a bit cheesy, but I don't think he can have enough good people around it, and he's a really good footballer. Like he used to be at Brighton as a kid, so he's a real good technician. Both he understands the game really well. So we've sort of, like we did with Jake Elliott when Jake was a centre back and we tried to move him to right back, we've sort of tried to do the same with Kane. And I agree. I thought he was very good against Ashford. He set a couple of goal line clearances, to be fair, against Ashford. And I think he'll do all right.
That's good. And then you say about getting into the midfield, Dicko's been different class this season.
Yeah.
He's sort of quietly gone about his business, hadn't really set the world alight, but done everything properly.
Yeah, well, we changed his role this year because he's playing a bit deeper. So when we lost Ben Ward last year, I mean, we're still not struggling. When we lost Adam Lovett, we used to play with one holding, and Adam could do the job of 2 or 3 people in there. He was a machine. And then when we lost Adam, we couldn't quite replace him like for like, so then we had to change. So we go with 2 holding. And then Ryan gets injured, and we're Ben Ward going as well. It opened the door really for Dicko to, because I know Dicko's probably best position is an attacking midfield player. But he said to me in pre-season, he said, I'll play in there if you need me in there. And then off the back of that, we sort of give him a run of games. I think he's been our player of the year. I think between him and Marcus, I think Marcus probably most improved, but Dicko has been. I think even last night, I thought he was excellent. He's had a really good year.
It seems that there's been a bit of a change. I've always been a fan of his tackle, but he seems to be playing with his head at the moment as well. I've just thought about what I'm saying, and I know Chris is going to use that in a derogatory way, but
would I ever, mate?
No, he's a good footballer as well, Jack.
Right.
He's just he was a good advert because I don't know if you know, he's just got married.
Yeah.
And thing is with Jack, he's not like, for example, me, I didn't even know where my wedding was. Like, my wife sort of organised it all and got it done, and I just turned up. Whereas Jack's really, he's like our social secretary within the team. He's a real good guy, and he's really invested in people as well. And he was really, rightly so, really invested in his wedding planning. And I think that was occupying a lot of his time away from football, and so he's got quite a stressful job. Whereas now his life's a lot more settled, so I think he's a lot happier in his football and probably a lot more concentrated in his football.
We do have a Mr. Gasson in the room. Is Mr. Gasson there? Is it? Oh, he's not there. Though. He was. Where
I'm here.
I'm
here. So I was late. I was busy writing the questions for the quiz on Friday.
Oh, well done. Right. Wait. We were just talking Phoenix Sports. If there's anything you want to ask Aggie about the Phoenix Sports game.
No, we won that one. So obviously no one needs to talk to Aggie about that, because it doesn't matter if we win a game, does it? So I'd rather moan at him about last night. No, it's good to see, scoring 4 goals on the road is, it's always good fun. So yeah, cheers for that. But I don't know what anyone. Yeah, no, just no questions. No questions asked again. We won it, Chris. It's fine.
All right. Well, okay. If no one else wants to ask anything about Phoenix, we'll move on to the Ashford game. Chris, your overall thoughts, mate? Oh no, mate. I'm sorry.
First half, the better sides, albeit they always carried a threat. Felt like we mixed our game up really well, so tempted them into a few high presses, which meant we could go over the top quicker and get onto their back line quick. When they were caught half and half, I thought we played through them well, created chances, and played with a good tempo and good energy. I thought our regains were decent. I just thought it was probably a solid 7 out of 10 performance first half. And half time, it was just a case of lads, more of the same. Don't overcomplicate anything. We don't need to go above and beyond. Nobody needs to take 85 touches on the ball. Just play simple. If we can pass it short, we'll pass it short. If we can play round them, we'll play round them. But just really just more emphasising the fact that we've been the better side and that we beat them 2 weeks ago, and it just needs to be a case of more of the same. Big message was dominate both boxes as well. I always think against Ashford, if you can dominate both boxes and win second ball, you're halfway there. Because you guys will know as well as me that they're a team that they're all about areas and territory and putting you under pressure, dominate second ball goes wide, and then they put so many bodies in your box, and it's sort of like shock and awe type of football. They really sort of stick it on you. And so when you got the likes of Gary Elphick and Craig Stone and Marcus and your full strength in there, we're more likely to stand up to it. Like I think we did a couple of weeks ago, whereas second half, I just thought we got overwhelmed. We stopped dominating both boxes, stopped winning second ball, which coupled with for whatever reason, I mean, we spoke about it briefly after the game, but I try not to say too much after the game because emotion, when you win, you're the best thing in the world. When you lose, you're the worst thing in the world. But the general feeling was after the game, we stopped passing the ball. And the thing is, against a team like Ashford, if you give the ball back to them, it just gives them more opportunities to put the ball in your box, and eventually something's got to give.
How did the team feel after full time?
Really disappointed. I alluded to it earlier that we're not used to losing, so when we lose, it's like, bloody hell, what's this? And so just a real feeling of disappointment. I mean, for me personally, it's something I need to get better at. Like, I'm the worst loser in the world, and I'm not very good at coping with it either. Like, I'm not happy at all. And because I wear my heart on my sleeve, I sort of tend to say what pops into my head, which isn't always the best thing. But I suppose it's a good thing in terms of, because we're not used to losing, it shows that it doesn't happen very often. But the challenge really is the last time we lost, which was Ramsgate, we didn't lose for 2 months. So it's always been, right, let's use it as fuel to move forwards, really, as cheesy as that sounds.
I was going to say was that bit of like a wake-up call for the lads, because obviously first half against Hive, they weren't at the races at all, and sat against Phoenix, they sort of let them back into the game a bit.
Yeah.
I think someone said on there last week, against Hive, if you play like that against a decent team, you'll get punished, which we got punished last night.
Yeah, 100%, Leon. I think we've won 10 of the last 12, but I think we've probably only played 180 minutes of good football in that time. Like, our best performance of the season for me was Whitehawk, which was straight after the Ramsgate game. Like, that was our most, obviously it's all subjective, isn't it, what people have their own preferences, but Whitehawk was for me our best performance. And it's just been interesting, really, because it's a bit of a running theme with the assistant manager. I say to him, so we've just won 11 out of, or 10 out of 11, and we haven't played well yet. But it's just, I think it's still off the back of pre-season, where we had a horrendous pre-season, and we just seem to be slow. We're traditionally slow anyway at picking up the pace from the start of the season. I think we, in that first year, we went top in December. So we're traditionally slow, but I think that hasn't been helped with pre-season. I'm trying to put my finger on it. I'm quite sure on where we're at, but I'm not 100% at the minute. I think, as I said, I think the long layoff has caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. Like, physically, we're struggling to get the same team on the pitch. I mean, we haven't played our full strength side yet this year, and a theme of our last couple of successful years is we've always been able to put the same team on the pitch. So after the first year where we lost in the playoff semi-final, and I chopped and changed far too much. I would rotate and I would try and be too clever with it. What we sort of thought was, let's go have a smaller squad, and if the team wins, that team stays out on the pitch. You know, we put our best players on the pitch, and we've always been quite, well, might be lucky with being able to do that. Whereas this year we've just not been able to do it. Like Marcus getting injured, Gaz, Popey inconveniently having a baby, which means he's not available. Like last night, you just think, well, but you know, it's. I'm pretty sure we'll come good. Well, we'll have to, but we just keep trying to say is, well, we've won the games we have away from home and have been nowhere near our best. So as long as we keep trying to work towards our best and keep trying to improve, hopefully results should keep picking up.
Okay.
So it can serve a purpose as a bit of a wake up, because I suppose if you're playing a little bit under par but winning games, it can build a kind of false sense of confidence, possibly, and maybe coming up against a good Ashford side, and you know, with the injuries as well, that might be a good kind of reset. Maybe, do you think?
Yeah, I think. Well, from my perspective, I mean, some of you I know more than any others, but I'm a nightmare. Like I'm a real pessimist. So like, which is why I think one of the reasons we've been able to chain together lots of wins, because when we win on a Saturday by 5:30, 6 o'clock, I've put it to bed and I'm next game. And the fear of losing the next game overwhelms everything else. So I'm on the lads in terms of can't get ahead of ourselves. Don't get too, don't get, we need to improve on this. We need to do this. And we're lucky with the lads as well. The lads are good as gold in terms of they set high standards. So Stoney on Saturday, for example, after the Phoenix game, he was fuming. He was absolutely fuming because we conceded 2 goals and he individually didn't play well. So I don't think we'll ever get too carried away of ourselves. But also on the flip side, what we can't do is just assume we're going to win games because we've done it for the last 3 years. Because that's what, it doesn't annoy me, but so many people said to me before the season started, "Kai, you'll win again, you'll win it." You just think it sort of devalues. Well, you guys have all supported Hastings for a long time, and the Hastings have been trying to get out of this league for a long time. And it sort of devalues how hard it is to get out. I mean, like if you think back to that Darren Hare team, it was a brilliant side with good players and played great football, far better football than what we've played lately, to be honest. And even they didn't get out. So we need to sort of remember that we have to be right at it all of the time to just keep picking up points. Because I think as well, like Hayward Heath, they're flying. Cray Valley look very good. Herne Bay look very good. So we certainly can't sort of take too long to get going. But then also we're not losing sight of the fact that we know how to win games, and it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, we'll get there, Aggie. Come on, snap out of it, mate.
No, Chris, don't worry about that. The thing is, like, I'm bad after we lose. Like, I won't be happy. Like, even if we win on Saturday against Felixstowe, I don't care like too much because it's not a league game. I won't be happy until we've won another league game. But I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not moping around the building and like sending everyone into a deep depression. But like, on the flip, like, I think the thing is, part of the reason we have done well is because we don't settle for too much, and we don't. Like we want to do better. We want to kick on. So don't worry, I'll put a smile on my face next time I see you.
Good. Well, there you go. Well, just moving on to Felixstowe then. What sort of side we're going to put out against them? I mean, as you say, the league is obviously the focus. I know you want to win every game.
Yeah.
But what's the team like? I mean, is it? what is, because I know it's a bit walking wounded these days. What sort of side will go out against Felixstowe?
Marcus Goldsmith's leg's still hanging off, which doesn't look very good at all. Gary Elphick, there's more chance of me playing than Gary on Saturday. So with Lamray, we're having to monitor with his hamstring all the time. We do have a walking wounded, but we'll be in training tomorrow night, and then what we do is we have an injury clinic before training, so everyone will be in getting treatment, and then we sort of do a sick rep, if you like, and then work back from that. But no, we will go as strong as we possibly can, and to win that game. Don't get me wrong, it's an inconvenience, but I still want to win it. It's a home game at the Pilot Field, and I want to 2 games. I can't remember the last time we lost 2 games in a row. So, we'll be going as strong as we possibly can to win that.
I was just going to say about the fantastic attendance last night. It really shows the potential of the club.
It chose the right game.
I've never known, since coming up in the mid-70s, whenever we've had a bumper crowd, we've always lost. So it'd be better to turn people away for that, I think.
Yeah. Should have had a floodlight failure.
Yeah.
It's
nice to see.
Sorry, Leon.
I was going to say, it's nice to see. I think there's quite a few youth teamers up there, because a lad I work with, his boy plays for under 9s, I think, and I think they were training beforehand, and a load of parents sort of took their kids up. Something I saw. It was nice to see. Sort of, get the kids involved. I'm sure they could have seen a better game, but
I spoke to, because I speak to a few of the youth team coaches all the time about on the coaching side of things, because that's more my bag, really. I'm more a coach than I am a manager, to be honest. So then when they all come up, I saw one of them tonight. He said, I'm glad I come and watch that game. It gives me talking about how we're going to play and what we're going to do, and then we smash it 70 yards for 45 minutes, and it comes back. Christ, but it's just, to be fair, it's just great having. The thing that I like is, like Sam Adams, for example, having photos with the under 11s team and things like that. I just think it's credit to like Ben White, Dean White, because they're like massively in the background. Really, they don't really put their head above the parapet, and they sort of go about their work quietly. And like within the academy and that, as alongside Bill, they've joined everything up, and it's brilliant now. Like it's with amongst the Firs and the Pilot Field and down in Alexandra Park. Obviously, we struggle for facilities, but it's there's loads of Hastings United teams playing, which is great, really, for the community, I think.
So it's definitely a lot better to when I was a kid. So I've been going up there since I was about 7, 8, and at secondary school. I think it was only me and one other lads in my year that used to go up and watch Hastings, and I'm sure that number's increasing every season.
Yeah, I've noticed a massive difference in the support from like when I first took over. It was, you got the vibe that you were sort of being willed to lose a little bit, like, and that sounds quite negative, but it was quite a dour type of support. I can always remember Sussex in the Senior Cup. There was 127 people there. I can remember thinking, and we were drawing, thinking, "Oh my God, like, is this what it's all about?" And then, whereas now, you do. I do feel like that. There's a real positivity around the ground and a good vibe, really, which does definitely help.
Not in the main stand, though, Chris. Not in the main stand. Flat white, Andy.
Well, thanks for that. Interesting.
Did you throw a lighter at Billy Wood? That's what I want to know, mate.
Did I throw a lighter
at Billy Wood? It was you, wasn't it?
If I had a lighter,
that was me.
Who would do that? It's interesting. Anyway, hello, Chris. I've never spoken
to you
before due to my various gallivanting and absences. I think that's the interesting thing. Yes, I was sat in the main stand because I didn't want to get wet. there's a huge amount of goodwill even in there, and that's one of the nicest things I think at the moment. And that was probably the thing that slightly annoyed me more than anything yesterday was that big crowd and the air coming out of the room during the second half. Did they? It was when Ashford was sort of really pressed in the second half. Was that a conscious decision, the way they all sort of sat back and turned it into attack against defence, or was it just we just could not keep hold of the ball? That was the thing that was, I think, was the most stark difference between going in at half time and coming out again. The way that it just turned. There was just a sort of, if there was in play betting going on, there was an absolute inevitability of them. They just needed to get lucky once, and they did. Double.
No, definitely not. I felt they were there for the taking at half time.
Yeah.
I think if we got an early goal, I think it could have been 3 or 4. So the message was very much more the same.
That free kick of Sam Hasler's that shot across that just needed one touch on that, and everything looked so different.
This is why it was so frustrating after the game, because I felt like we had more than enough about us to win the game. But and as I said, with that on top in the first half, you think, well, that's just more of the same. But for whatever reason, we just seemed to go into a negative mindset. I mean, when we did go longer, and when you do go longer, as you guys know, it's got to stay up there. It's got to stick, and it didn't. And it come back too quickly. It was very frustrating. Yeah. And also, what I would say, I'm partly to blame for that, because I think I was too slow in making our substitutions. I think if I'd been because I've got quite good at getting the flow of the game in terms of understanding like the direction the game's going in. So if I feel like the opposition's getting on top, you can almost see it coming and preempt it a little bit. Whereas I could see it coming last night, but I was too slow in our subs. And I think maybe if we were a bit quicker, we would have freshened it up. I think it might have shifted the momentum back a little bit in our favour. So that's a frustration.
Yeah, because Tom Chalmers did make a difference when he came up, and he carries the ball so beautifully. And that did, he was sort of taking 3 or 4 men with him. And there was 10 minutes just before they scored their third goal where it all came together a bit more, but it was always up against the break, and they were so quick and so.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll see many teams as incisive as that at the Pilot Field this year. I think that's the one thing. They're absolutely sharp as anything, aren't they? Just didn't get a trick.
Do you know what I think that gets me though? I genuinely think, I know it's a strange one. I think if you put them in a different kit and you put a different badge on their chest, I don't think they would have the same aura about them. But I just think because of, I hate to say it, but a bit of a bogey team.
Well, that's one interesting thing you should say, because they've now done us 3 times in 3 big games, haven't they?
Yeah.
Does that play on the lads' mind?
Well, with the trophy game, the priority was always, it sounds obvious, but we've got to win this game, no matter how it looks and what it looks like. We've got to stop that Ashford beating Hastings momentum that they've had over the past couple of years. And when we'd done that, I thought, we're all right now. And then when you saw the first half last night, you thought, yeah, we're in a good place. But then for whatever reason, and genuinely, I can't, obviously, I think it's probably a combination of a few things, and which have all added up to quite a high percentage on why they've gone and won the game. But they do seem to cause us problems. But then I do also think we've played better teams this year. Like Herne Bay, I thought were excellent. Were really good against us, and they were a really good side. But that's taking nothing away from Ashford. I think Ashford will be top 3 or 4. So, but yeah, it just seems it's just amazing that the psychological side of things in terms of how much it can impact the players.
Because I think when that has to be said, the goal was a thing of beauty. I thought, I must admit, the sort of lazy turn and cross from Has was just absolutely sensational. The way he
brilliant.
just didn't look as though he was going to do anything with it, and then suddenly ping. And when Lamre scored that, I thought certainly everybody where I was, we just thought, this time it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And what can you say?
No, well, that's it. It was. It's annoying. It is annoying.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Like, and I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. As silly as that sounds, and the thing is, it's just I feel like we've got more than enough of the tools to deal with what they threw at us. But just for what, and I'm not, as I said, I can't put my finger on it, but I do think one of the big factors was the substitutions, which I think we could have dealt with better and managed a little bit better.
No, it was brilliant you coming on after that, because it stopped us just sitting carping on our own, and it's given us a really constructive outcome of this. I think so. That's really nice from my point of view to hear your thoughts on it.
No, it's
really interesting. Really interesting.
I enjoy it. I enjoy talking football. It's nice. It's nice as well because I know you guys are behind what we do and back what we do. Obviously, I listen to the podcast every week, and I take things away from what you guys say. It's not. I just like the fact that everyone wants Hastings to do well. And to be fair, if we'd won last night, I would have been more likely to not come on. But because we lost, it's more out of the principle in terms of it's all right to sort of be clapping the fans after the game after you win, but also you've got to take your medicine when you lose and be a man about it as well, for want of a better phrase.
Well, we look forward to not having you on for quite a while then.
Yes, that'd be a nice problem to have.
John, you sound like my wife.
One last thing from me. Do you feel that Cray Valley game in a couple of weeks' time is a bit of a belter now?
Yeah, I think I look at every game.
I don't like to pick out individual games. I know you're not supposed to do that, but that seems to me like quite because of the big team situation. We feel like we need a win against one of the big teams.
Yeah, honestly, it's every game. I know it sounds a bit it's easy, but every game is like we always seem to bring out the best in everyone, which I get it, I understand it. It just makes it is really hard. I know it sounds again like I've got the violin out, but where we've been so successful, we've had all of the consequences of being successful without the prize of promotion. Yeah. So teams are just happy to get anything from Hastings. They're just happy for a good performance. So we're a free hit.
Could tell Billy to stop winding up all the opposition directors and managers.
Well, I've said to Bill a couple of times, I said, you need to stop doing the opposition's team talks because...
He is a motivational speaker in some ways.
We do it. We do it. We take things from other teams' Twitter accounts and websites. And we take a lot and we make sure our players are aware of it. Because it could be the 1% which pushes you the other way. And the thing is, the Ashford game doesn't need any more spice to it. I mean, after the with the fuel chat and stuff like that, I was like that going, oh no, just to put a bit more on the game because you think, but yeah, no, every game is a cup final. So Cray Valley, I couldn't even tell you when we're playing Cray Valley because I just know that we've got 3 or 4 games before that, which if we don't win, the Cray Valley games are relevant, really.
I think that's the difference between a fan's perspective and your perspective, having to manage the team on a day-to-day basis, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I just obviously I look forward to it. This is why I enjoyed the FA Cup run because you're playing against different teams and. Like Chippenham, for example, Chippenham had no respect for us at all and just expected to run all over us. But then this is why I've always said, I think if we'd had the promotion that I think we deserved, I think we could have gone again. I genuinely think that because in the league above, teams will go, well, we'll have a go at you. You know, there's no fear factor there. We'll have a to and fro with you. Whereas teams at our level, they don't really do it a great deal. And then also on top of that, you get the stuff like with Phoenix, with the balls and the pitch. You got the added spice of the Ashford game. All of these things which are obstacles I feel like we've overcome, we're now having to face again, but with even more loaded against us because everyone just expects us to do well. So it's good because it's created a real siege mentality within the group, but it's just like mental toughness wise in terms of gritting your teeth and keeping working through it is the biggest test. But it's good though. Like, I'd rather that than being a relegation battle.
Yeah. Nice problem to have, as they say.
Yeah.
In Aggie we trust, mate. In Aggie we trust.
I always worry when you put that, Chris, because it always makes you think someone's telling you I'm about to get sacked.
Robbie and I accidentally coined the word. We were talking about agricultural football, weren't we? And I think
agricultural.
Word agricultural.
Yeah.
Which was, that's what we want.
Yeah, no, we don't want you getting the sack, mate. Bloody hell. Okay, now.
Leon will know this. Leon will know this. I must be one of the longest serving managers now for a long time.
Oh, probably, yeah. Well, you've lost the ball in a month, haven't you? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and
good times.
Right. Don't go off and leave, all right? No leaving and no getting sacked. We'd sort Billy Wood out if he tries any of that.
Oh, Bill's all right.
What about the rest of them then? We'll sort all of them out. Was it Mr. Burney and his 7 million? We'll sort out.
To be fair, the club's good as gold. Genuinely, it's the most settled it's been for a long time. This is another thing that makes it more frustrating. You look at the crowds, you look at the win rate, you look at the support, support backroom wise, and the club's ready and has proven it's ready to be operating at a better level, and the supporters deserve it. I mean, like you look at it on Saturday, how can we treble Phoenix Sports Gate? The club deserves more than what the level it's operating at, which we just have to keep working hard and keep fighting for it. But as I said, off the pitch is fine, and there's no issues. It's only sets us up to succeed, apart from social media and Twitter.
Out of interest, will Ben be back for Saturday, do you think? I mean, or is he off for a while now? I mean, is it a baby boy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a mini Canelo. Well, hopefully. How long does it take to have a baby?
Well, she squeezed it out, hasn't she? So
it's out.
He's good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, he should be at training tomorrow.
They should have timed
didn't have it, did he? He wasn't him giving birth, was it?
Yeah, I hope you got nothing to do fangled parental leave nonsense.
No, we're not doing that. If he has, we'll find him a week's wages. It's not this Saturday.
Love it. No.
He was going to play last night. He was going to play, and I said, come on, like, it's the biggest moment of your life.
Yeah.
And I said, Ashford at home can wait. I wish he told me to do one, but
tell him he can break out the old thumb sucking routine when he scores on Saturday.
Oh, don't. I don't know how comfortable I think seeing Ben Pope doing that.
It seems to be the thing, doesn't it? Or whatever they do.
Yeah.
The arms thing.
Yeah.
I was just pick so-called flat white Andy up on, as much of a crowd pleaser.
The win me up if you tried. I'm only 10 stone, John.
Right. As much as it's great for the fans to beat the top teams, the real graft and the real key to winning the league is having a system that takes you through all those lower teams, isn't it? But that's kind of what we're doing. We've got loads of games in hand, but we are generally turning over those lower teams at the lower end of the table, or the mid and lower teams. Would anyone agree with that, or is that nonsense?
He's trying to generate the argument. He's trying to generate the argument that would have happened had Chris not been on here. I totally agree with what you're saying, John. I'm just talking about the psychological boost of dicking one of the big teams on the way back up to the top of that table. That's all.
But not forgetting you've got to have a system to the lower team.
Oh, take his.
No, I think that's what we've done well. Is traditionally we've not strung together a string of results which are poor, and I think what we've seen with our rivals is like Ashford done it with us. They beat us 3-0 and then they drew the next two games, and that 3 points is wiped out because then we won the next two games. So I genuinely think a majority of it is mentality and a bit of psychology in terms of generating your own atmosphere on these away games where you've only got 25 people. This is where the support comes in, because Phoenix Sports with no one there is soulless, but with our support it makes a big difference. And I just think the word that comes to mind is just grind. You just got to keep grinding it out, as horrible as it sounds. And what I don't think has helped is actually the amount of away games we've had. So we because we're fortunate with the surface we've got at the pilot field, I think we can play a better brand of football. Whereas away from home, having learnt lessons from the first year, sometimes we do have to be a bit more agricultural and direct and Ollie Black's throw. But because we played so many away games, playing at home was a bit like, and I think maybe that didn't help in terms of the second half, in terms of getting the ball down and dominating the ball and stopping Ashford having so many attacks. But I think now where we've got a run of 3 home games and the fixtures won't be so loaded towards away fixtures, I think hopefully we can get a better balance and start playing with a bit more consistency, but also at home play a better brand of football. But I think John, not sort of being funny, John's right. It's we always say to lads, the Hive's away on Tuesday night and the Whitstable's away. That's where the league's won, not on the Saturday against the big boys, because they've normally shown an inability to convert those sorts of games regularly into 3 points, whereas we've always been able to do it, touch wood. So, and then to be fair, we've done it this year. Like I'm talking like we're bottom of the league, but we've won 10 of the last 12. So, but hopefully for you guys, that's an indication that we're not sort of resting on our laurels at all.
Not at all. None of us think that, Aggie.
Any question for that?
I think we'll leave it there. Thanks very much to the great English Jose, Chris AGUTTER, Flat White Andy, Leon, Smithie, Mr. Wills, and Gasson for coming along. And have a nice evening, fellas.
Yeah.
Cheers, Aggie.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
much.
All the best. Cheers, Chris. Cheers, folks.
That's it for another week, News fans. It was a mixed bag, but we are Hastings. We bounce back. Remember, if you've got any suggestions or comments, or want to get on our fan roundtables, just drop us an email on hufcpod@gmail.com or on the Twitter, which is @hufcpodcast. We're available on all audio platforms, and I'd really love it if you could get over to our YouTube, which is chock full of videos, interviews and old episodes. Give a like, make a comment, but please subscribe. It's all free and helps spread that joy of Hastings. All that's left for me to say is, I've been your host, Chris Laverick. Hope you have a good week, and see you at the game.